Welcome everyone to the 231st weekly MLP live critique stream. It's like August 4th. It's only a little past 6. We'll get over it. Only DJ David's gonna complain at us. But he
Don't complain at us.
Oh, hello, DJ David. I know this.
So as you may or may not be able to have heard, we got the ever cat-like Aliclaw.
Hello.
And then there's Fluffy's Eye, who is currently gluing more fluff onto himself, so he's double Fluffy's Eye.
You can't stop me.
I think someone might have left a window open because we got joining us today, Inky Beaker.
Ah!
Oh, God.
These are the carrier pigeons we asked for. One finally showed up.
This is what you get.
And currently training the spiders to use snakes as whips, Pixing up.
Hello. I'm coming with spiders. Beware.
You can't use the snakes yet, though. I'm not done drawing them. I'm doing it now.
I'll leave that for next week.
I hope you get your power back, David.
Aw.
Thanks for spending some of your power on us.
We're melting into the ether.
Bye. Alright. So, as always, if you have any art you would like to submit, please fire it towards us now. If you have any questions, we will take them and maybe do them. Usually, almost always do them. Except for that one time at band camp. We weren't allowed to talk about that one.
No. What happens at band camp stays in band camp.
Yeah. What she said. Alright, so let's do this. First picture, top left-hand corner. It is by Melody Breeze 1. And it's Drew Pinkamania. I tried my best with shading and shadowing.
You mean Pinkamina?
Pinkamania?
Pinky Mania.
That's the Hulkmania version. Oh yeah! It's time to party!
Who was the guy that he was like the party rock wearing Andrew WK? Yeah.
I thought we're doing Slurms McKenzie.
What?
Have you been watching Futurama lately?
I kind of want to rewatch it because it's still a good show.
It's fair.
All right, so I noticed in critique you got a note about the ear being large, and the eyes being a little eye-like, like human eye-like. They're good. I mean, it's the critique is on point. I would definitely listen to that critiquer. Also listen to the Pinkie Pie 500 of Noise. Because it's a good job. If we go look back at some of your other art, you can definitely see you've been slowly improving here. We got some nicer lines. We got the shadows being thrown on there. I mean, this is a major step up from some of your other ones where you're doing some good posing in that, but now we're getting slightly more complex. There's a scene going on. We got a background draped across them. So yeah, it's a nice step up. Good job.
Definitely. You should feel proud.
Well, hello, Cookie Monster.
Nom 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 nom.
Gallen's in our chat.
Nom 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 nom.
We can't just eat all the cookies on them.
Gallen's no longer in the chat. Ali has eaten.
Oh no.
Ha.
Aw.
Gone too far.
Too many. One nom too many.
I do appreciate that this artist has included not one, but 2 ears.
Yes. You get extra points for that.
So the hair is definitely on point for what Pinky's flat hair does. That's working pretty well. I do believe it's more on the brighter pink still. Like, it's still her original color. Just they usually desaturate the scene just a bit to deal with it. So while your color's not perfectly accurate, it can definitely be talked about just based on context of lighting.
What we have here is more like berry punch colors.
Yeah. Second ear's a myth. I will go hunt down that second ear and prove to you that it's not a myth.
Ponies need to be able to hear and do audio.
I mean, their icon doesn't have a second ear, so... Oh, but their other icon on Discord does.
Oh.
Oh! Alright,
So
who's...
I've mostly just been drawing over it, trying to change around some of the lines and all that sort of stuff. Let's go back to the color that it's easy to pick up. The ear is really big. Big ears are cool. I just might pull it in at like tiny bit so that it doesn't encroach on the eye so much. When you have these sort of things, the eye sort of bleeds into the ear space and it kind of looks a little bit weird. So let's pull the ear somewhere back there. You can make the eye a little bit bigger if you want to. There's enough space there, definitely. With this mouth, what you've got here is you've got the muzzle coming out like this, teeth coming like that. Normally the teeth will sort of be a little bit more either straight or curving in a little bit. So I've just done that a little bit there. Yeah, and other than that, just refining some shapes, making his hair a little bit straighter around here, which just personal preference. Looks really good. Keep drawing.
Something
Yeah.
I'd add, of course, keep drawing. This is really good. But my question would be, because to me, this feels very like Philly proportions, like not mare proportions. How you see in the show, like Applejack versus Apple Bloom. This feels more to the scale of Apple Bloom than Applejack.
Yeah.
And while you can totally do that if that was your choice, that's fine. But if you want it to be more resembling Pinkamena in an older form, I would really recommend taking a look at different tutorials and just looking at the show ponies to the one of your favorite artists, just anyone, see how they draw maybe. If they draw fillies versus mares, adults versus children. But as Pixie's drawing so wonderfully, you can kind of see how different, even though this is the same height and size, how different the body proportions are done. Where your the one you've drawn here, like I said, feels very like the kid version. Um, Everything's very squished together. It's very small, you know, and it's close together. Like you can see the size of the heads, the size of the body, which tends to be, you know, what the kid proportions are. It's much more chibi. And then over next to it, we have something where the head is not as big as the body. The body is stretched out to be longer, and the head, the way I've seen it described, I can see it being done very easily translated, is the head is the same size as the butt on an adult, and the chest is just a slightly smaller circle that goes between them. So you can see just how these proportions change and shift as something grows older. Like a human, you'd look at a child and then a parent, you can see how it just shifts and grows and the proportion differences.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything on this one?
I didn't want to draw because there was lots of lovely stuff being drawn on it already. Yeah, I think most of the stuff that sort of I'm looking at is like style based, and like and anything else would just be down to like what Ali said about looking up, not even just on the proportions, but like looking up people's art and just seeing how they do lines, seeing how they put colors in, all that sort of stuff. Referencing.
Yeah, like I sometimes you know, spend a day just drawing muzzles and like seeing how people draw muzzles and then getting a sheet of paper or whatever and
Absolutely.
redrawing them.
It's
And that can
really
be
fun
really
to
good.
do sorts of artist studies, yeah.
Alright, let's move on to our next one. it will be the dragon next to this.
Cool, cool.
Dragons. Dragons are
Yarr.
fun.
There be dragons.
Yeah, this is cool. I like this.
So this is by Chemical Barnacle, and it's Jasmine the Dragon Mare. I have no questions. I don't even recognize that name. But go on.
Now I figured out how to scroll over.
Oh, they have posted some other art to the main sub over time, but it looks like
Nice.
oh, they got a custom OC of this one. That's adorable. Like the models.
A 3D model?
Like a you know the little just eh.
Just share.
It's in a chat somewhere. No, which one? This one. How about that chat? There you go. It's an adorable little dragon. Pony.
The custom repaints.
Yeah, those.
Yeah. It's always cool that people just like take the toys and turn them into like other things. It's very
Yeah.
creative.
So based on the nature of this, it's gonna be hard to critique the proportions because it is a very hybrid, sort of one-off creature. Like I do like how you've done the hip here. This makes a lot of sense for the dragon-esque part of it, but I would almost get rid of the pony-like back leg and go more straight-legged like traditional dragons. Just because the fact that it has a hawk is very alien-like for this. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go standard like Eastern dragon.
I think another thing is that the structure for both back legs aren't the same. Because you got like, here's one leg bone, here's another, whereas like up here it's like one leg bone very short and super long leggy. So especially with the quote unquote, like the perspective, the knee should kind of be along this line if you're keeping it in line with the back. But it's like way up here.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. So, standard Western Wizards of the Coast. Oh my gosh, style dragons. If they'll have the same sort of hip design where it's that chunk of meaty flesh that pops down. They do pop back, but they're going on a pretty steep or like a 45-degree angle rather than ponies where it's almost a cliff that they gotta go cliff diving off the back of that hawk. So it goes down and then becomes the rest of the dragon's leg, but their leg goes back quite a bit. I hope that makes a bit of sense. Anyway, my suggestion would be if this is actually what you're going for, then cool. It somewhat works. It does feel a little awkward for the viewer, but if you're fine with that, then be fine with that. But if you're looking for more of a Eastern or Western style dragon, definitely go eat some references, stare at them, enjoy them, and try and apply them to what you have going on here because it's going to improve those legs. Let's just build that collage of references.
Yeah. In the chat, Galen mentioned that the feet might not be quite on the same angles here. So with this back leg, or these legs that are further away from us, I've just like drawn a bit of a thing toward between them. And with these front legs, the foot doesn't really fall where I'd expect it to, so I just pulled that down a little bit. And then just changed up the shape of this shoulder. How I tend to see most shoulders in like hoofed creatures is something along the lines of like a big blob, something like that. And it just helps make it a little bit more defined, but it's good to break down other people's art and find what shape works for you there. I also pulled in this just a little bit. It was just a little bit too much being pulled out this far, especially because this is in a pretty relaxed state in terms of their whole pose. Just pulled that in a little bit. And on the back, sort of the middle of the back is kind of somewhere that we can see along here. And so I pretty much just pull the spines so that we can just see the front of them. You know, something along those lines. At least for back here, and then it goes sort of behind everything. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be good to, when you're looking at the mane as well, to just focus on big shapes a little bit more, on sort of the big overall shape, because it looks a little bit not as clearly defined as it probably could be. When you break down manes, you can usually like break them down into a lot of easily readable shapes, and so I might just do that a little bit more for your stuff in the future. It's a really interesting sort of design.
All right, shall we move on to our next one?
Let us go.
All right. This one is by the returning Mr. Brickwall. Not Mr. Brick and Wall, just Mr. Brickwall.
It's a brick wall.
Ah, I still got it wrong.
I wasn't going to say it, but...
And they've titled it as Globe. So, right off the bat, I do see some more interesting definition that you've added into your horses. Some nice forward progression on slowly amping up the horse details. Your room, it's looking a lot more room-like than some of the other ones you've built, at least as far as, you know, straight lines moving perpendicular and parallel together based on how they are. It's looking good. Definite noted improvement. Oh, it does look like you have some text here. Hey, pals. Had some difficulties with the head. Looked too round at first, and now just looks off. It's making it look like she was on the pillow instead of near it, without putting any weight on it. Okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah. There are bricks in your... Do you actually have a brick wall, Mr. Brick Wall? Mr. Brick Wall? Maybe I'll just mispronounce it every time.
Mr. A Brick in the Wall.
Mr. Brick Wall, like...
Mr. Cement Block.
A Mr. Brick in the Wall.
All in all.
Brick is fun.
Yeah, you got any questions in particular on this one for us? Because you're here, so we get to ask you these things.
Yeah.
This is what you get. I also just realized I had a piece of duct tape stuck to my pants all day. That's good.
It's a fashion statement.
Yep. Fashionable chunk of black duct tape. All the kids are into this new fad. Looking at it now, the front hooves seemed really out of proportion. Compared to the back hooves, most assuredly. The question is, are you looking for large hooves, or are you looking for dainty ones? Looking for some middle ground between everything you have? Personally, I prefer the size of the back ones, just if we do a comparison to the head and body sizes. Hooves in MLP are about half of a head in size. Yours are slightly smaller, which makes sense because you've slightly stretched out the body, both lengthwise and leg-wise, so making them a little bit smaller also helps with that. Huffy Lime, you should go look at some of the mid-era Grenader art if you want some big hooves.
Mega hooves.
Yes, I still have one of their mega hoof pictures on my wall. They're so big.
To be fair, you know, you can boop really good with those mega hooves.
Like, I imagine they are just giant pillows, and they go and sink into things.
Yeah.
I like that you've added a lot of detail in the feathers, but it almost comes up short because it doesn't have overlapping on the outside areas of it. So if you're gonna do like the you know, the little down feathers popping off here, I would make those just pop out slightly from that line that you've done for the tertiary feathers. That's gonna help add a bit more shape there. It's gonna be wonderful. Man, you're so good at doing these little bells that hang from her.
Yeah.
She must be a lot of fun to hear run down the hallways at 1 a.m. You're just like, oh, not her again.
It's like my D&D character, and somehow she has a really high stealth, but she wears bells because she's a cat. So I would just watch the like thickness of the hooves and legs in general, because like this, yeah, like this hoof is smaller. I'm just trying to figure out a good like attack point here, but like it's smaller than this one. Like this leg looks thicker. You can see pretty easily. And then like these ones are like way daintier. So typically the legs should all be pretty balanced. I'm gonna just figure out how to delete the stuff I've done. There we go. They should all be pretty balanced. So I would just like I would personally change all of them. I would thicken these ones and thin the other ones, or at least this one. Just to sort of balance everything towards the middle. If you don't want to redraw all of them, then pick one and restart as the others. But like I said, I think this leg is good. Holy crap, this is not less laggy than I was on Brave. I think these ones are a little bit too thin for my personal tastes, and they look a little bit too short, I believe. I don't know. A little bit to me, just going by the torso proportions. So I would just like balance the legs between to come up with like a good happy medium. It's easy to get lost and not realize until later on, like, oh, I didn't even notice that the legs were too like inconsistent, and these ones like super thin, these ones super thick. But it's just one of those things where like you just got to learn to just keep every now and then just look at like the entire image, just take a step back and look at everything, look at the legs together as like a single set, and say, do these look consistent? Just a little thing you got to do every now and then when you're drawing before it gets too late.
Yeah, I just add more sketch layers because I draw something and I'm like, oh no, that looks completely wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll treat this as a sketch layer instead of the inking layer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With this shoulder, I've just with this torso more, it's kind of like you've got this shape like this sort of cylindry kind of shape, and that's like sort of the torso. This shoulder and sort of the wing are kind of in a similar sort of space. So I've just like made the sort of wing connection point up here rather than going back behind it. Because if it's going behind, then it's sort of they connect on her back. It looks more like a butterfly kind of a thing. I can see what you mean about the face as well. I think it might just be sort of just shuffling around different features, expanding certain things, and you know, just trying some stuff out there.
Have a good night, Gallon.
See you, Gallon.
All right, you got any other questions there for us, Mr. Brick or Mr. Brick Wall?
I like Mr. Brick as a nickname.
Brickinator.
Brickinator.
Oh, and I'd probably pull the face over to the right a bit. Because you've got sort of this head shape here, and the neck is sort of pulling all the way out here. Which looks a little bit, sort of, just a little bit far.
Well, glad to be of assistance. Shall we move on to our next one?
Let's do it.
That drawing is so good. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
Gotta zoom out a lot for this one. So I'm actually gonna zoom in on the pony. If anyone talks about the water up top, feel free to, notify.
I was amused by the subreddit. It only showed the top. I'm like, oh, they practice like a background? That's really cool. And they're like, oh, whoa, it's a whole picture.
And oh no, there's a pony drowning. Save her. I hope that she is about to discover that she's going to turn into a mermare.
So
Yep,
this picture,
Secret sea pony.
this picture is by Hordoc. I drew this to flex my skills in the hopes that I actually have some. You totally have some.
Absolutely.
I was feeling a bit intimidated by some other recent pieces I've seen and wanted to see what I was capable of. I'm pretty happy with it overall, but I'm completely open to ideas and suggestions. You might also
Heck yeah,
know this
pushing
person.
yourself.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Their other name they've gone by is Nimro. Nimaru. We've seen their art in the past.
Oh, nice.
Definite improvement. Like, even if I just stalk their deviant art. Yeah. Wonderful improvement on a whole bunch of elements.
I really do gotta say, the top here, you really wowed me with. I love all the particles in the water, and just the reflection of the surface, and you got that nicely fit in there, but it's not taking up the whole screen. That's really. I know the camera's not on it right now, but I just want to compliment that since we're gonna go to the pony next.
It is there now when you started talking about it. I was gonna be like, Allie! Allie! Now I'm scrolling down to back to the pony.
Back to the pony.
I know pictures aren't only the pony on it, but in this case it is mostly horse with some wonderful elements moving upwards. It does look like it'd be a great bookmark.
Right?
Or if you could get this inside of a cup.
Yes. That wins.
So
That
it's
one.
like it's one of those wraparound things where it's just like a pony standing in the on like the side of the mug on the outside. It's just like a pony like hello, and then like when you put water in it, the image changes. The whole mug is just like ocean themed, and the pony's like ah. Blah, blah.
Yeah, something like that. Either that or just like vinyl printed on two sides. Your one side is regular, your other side has this, and that's facing the inside. Like they do with the Sailor's Jerry, where it's got the picture of the lady printed inside, but you can't see it from the outside.
This picture is super cool and really good, and you do have a lot of skill. You went to push your stuff, and it looks really cool and good. What I might say is this hoof is a little bit wiggly, waggly, wavy, and that's all good, but it might be good to sort of approach the fluid aspect, I guess, in a bigger way. So sort of having a big line of action going through here, but having the hoof be a little bit more defined in terms of the a little bit more sort of squared off, so it doesn't look quite so wavy, because it's a little bit too wavy for my likes as is. I don't know.
I can see what you're saying.
I love what their mane is styled like. It's very wild, but every time I look at it, I can't think, like, it gets stuck in my mind of, is it grain? You know, the head of grain as it grows wild. It gets the same shape.
It's a very peculiar and interesting main style in Telstar.
I mean, the one thing I'd say to consider is the tail a bit.
Yeah.
Because you have this hair that's so long here. A pony's actual physical tail only gets about that long. It's like a short puppy dog's tail if you ever see a shaved horse's tail. So, and with it being pony, it might even be shorter, like a little stumpy, waggy tail. So
So cute.
all this extra hair. The thing that would confuse me is why it goes back in. Why does it make this teardrop shape? If the hair is coming from here, like it would just basically mean each of these pods suddenly bursts from this strand of hair. But that's again super nitpicky, and I'm like
It
judging a
is.
cartoon style.
I think
hair
it does.
style.
It does go towards like stuff that we talk about a lot in the streams, which is like how the hair is supposed to come. You know, it's long strands of hair that come from a point. You know, and the hair won't really like just come out attached from nowhere unless it literally is like a shape that's like a bunch of little like hair extensions all clipped onto something. Like that's the only way it could really sort of work logically, unless it's a really really specific and incredibly detailed styling job where it's all just like actual hair, but then it like bursts out at like a certain point towards the end, like which would take hours and hours to style like that. I get like
So
ponies have weird main styles, but like yeah, it's just a case of thinking about how hair works. Sorry, Nikki.
no, I was gonna go off somewhere else. So yeah. If you had more to say about that, just I guess keep going with it.
No, that was it.
Okay. So the two main things I guess are kind of related that I noted is the uh-oh, where's my pen? Here, like this area. I think this part here is the wing behind. I'm not sure. Because the hair follows this line, and that is it sort of confused me at first because I couldn't tell if it was the wing or the neck, and it made it look like a really thick kind of neck going on.
Yeah, that tangent. I can see that now.
So it's like sometimes, yes, you may have done the undersketching, and that's kind of where it's supposed to fall, etc., etc. But one thing in art that is not always taught ahead of time is sometimes you do have to break things a little bit to make it look good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you have a tangent that sort of confuses the anatomy, even though it's technically correct, you may want to consider moving it or tilting it or getting rid of it altogether. The other thing was, I think this leg, the shoulder's a bit up too high, and it is actually going into the neck a little bit. I don't know if that's just my misreading it because of the wing in the background, but
All right, shall we move on to our next one?
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
I just want to double say, like, really awesome for pushing yourself and doing a piece that's like, yeah, I'm gonna show it off, because This is worth showing off. There's a
I love
lot
the
of good here.
bubbles.
Yes,
Yeah,
all the
keep
bubbles.
showing us more of your stuff because it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Our last picture submitted is by Star Butterflam. No, yes, Butterflam. Hi guys. So I decided to create a Reddit account. I'm Jogo de Lucama, and my boyfriend has posted my art. This one is most recent. Most recently, someone can recognize that she's inspired on Kindred Spirit Blossom of Lowell. I'm not good with backgrounds, but I'm taking commissions if you're interested. OC. Well, we hope it's OC. Everything on our subreddit should be OC.
Yes. Firstly, Star by the Flam sounds like the non-copyright version. So don't worry about like not being, not having some like amazing background for this, because I think what you've done here works perfectly well for showing off the character. It's like pleasing to look at, but it doesn't like stand out a whole bunch, which I think is the point when you're trying to do just like a headshot showing off like, look how cute this pony is, and it is an adorable pony. I absolutely love ponies with horns. I assume that's what this is. Looks like a horn anyway. There may be, if it is, she's got one on both sides, which most of the time horns would be, then there should be one sort of here.
Good catch.
This is a super cute, sparkly style. I love it. I love the blue blep.
Yeah. Something that sticks out to me, and it's very small, but my eye can't not see it right now. But this little line right here that I just drew over, that little line makes all the difference on how that nose is interpreted. So right now, this line's telling me that the nose suddenly goes up here, like this, and that doesn't quite work for the angle your picture's at. It would be more close to the eye, so if you just drag it directly down from the eye and have no like X point, that tends to give the nose a little nicer. Oh, wrong tool. Nice little curve.
Yes.
Blip.
Blip. I always like to do. Oops. I always like to do like little tongue freckles.
Oh, that's so cute.
I love it. It would just be taste buds, you know. It's the freckle tool. Actually, it's the brush I use for the speckles in the movie style eyes, but I use it for freckles as well. I wanna know what's going on around here, because like this pink line here makes me think that's part of the background colors, but like the body can't be doing this unless she has an unreasonably skinny neck. Because I'm reading it as your anatomy is pretty on point for the rest of the picture, so I am reading. I'm pretty zoomed in, so this might not be completely right, but I think the pony's body is like this. So I don't know exactly if I'm misinterpreting the mane or something, but like this looks like there's like a bit of mane here, but then it's like a different color, and then like the background color is coming through. So I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on. Because the outline color is not the same as the body, nor is it the same as the mane. So like it's a bit weird there.
Oh, you know what? You know what?
Mhm.
I think I know what it is. So I think it's two things. I think this is the shoulder, like if the pony's shoulder was coming out like that.
Okay.
And I think they just forgot to color it white.
All right.
That would
It's
be
got like
my
the
guess.
shading on, but it's not, but not the color, right? I
Yeah.
can see that.
Hmm.
It was just like hard to visually determine like what I was seeing.
No, once you pointed it out, I'm like, oh, that's a thin neck.
No, I totally love I love the design. It's got a very sparkly sort of galaxy mane. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I like the like
It's-
eyebrows as well.
It's easy to see that you know a lot about ponies and about drawing them well, because you've done that.
Yeah.
I just moved the ear that way a little bit. Pick a color.
Also,
I just moved the ear a little
these-
bit. Yeah. And I also just made this come to a bit of a point on the top of the head, because it feels like it should sort of meet somewhere around about there. rather than going
yeah.
behind. Because going behind it makes me feel like it's like some weird ugly noodle that connects somewhere in the back of it.
It's the antenna that the alien uses to connect to its hive.
Antenna. I really like the all these little like strands and stuff coming down
Yeah,
over here, down
I
the
love it
vibes.
when people do that. Like I love doing it in my own art as well. It just makes it feel so much more like lively hair. I don't really have too much to say because it's just a beautiful art. It's lovely.
Really
Let me just do a thing. Okay, no, even the white is like not exactly white. It's like very very close. Because I have a pet peeve of using it like full white. My color picker says it's not 100% in the corner there. So. Good. There's lovely color theory going on here.
Yes. Oh, very much so.
Yeah, good, great design work. We'd love to see more stuff from you on the MLPDS in the future.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any other questions, like if you don't feel like we've answered everything that you were hoping to have answered, or if there's something else that you sort of come up with, you can always come to our Discord and shoot us questions.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna do something with that ear just because it feels like the front plane of it is kind of here. So maybe just like pulling some shapes over this way a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was trying to experiment with, but I wasn't sure.
Ears are difficult. They're like they fold weird and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, I recently found out just how hairy horse ears are. I always thought they were more skin-like and thin, but those horse ears have a lot of hair coming out of them.
That's scary. I don't like that.
Did you pet them?
I wish they were just pictures on the internet.
Did you pay a screen?
Pet.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions? Any other art they'd like submitted? Any other? I don't know. Who do we have today? Any other
Griffin's
science
favorite.
questions to submit to Inky Beaker? Science.
He can science the colors. He sciences colors currently.
I do.
What is science in colors?
Redacted.
You work for Pantone.
No, I work for E-Ink.
Oh, as in like the electronic
Ink?
stuff.
Yes.
That's fucking cool. I mean,
That's
friggin'
cool.
What you're
cool.
looking
I like
for
that.
is ink.
Does that mean we get full color ink display, e-ink displays soon? That don't have a horrible refresh rate?
I cannot say anything.
Violate your NDAs for us. Come on.
Just for us. It'd be great.
Just a little bit of NDA. Come on.
Okay, so it's been announced already at a conference, so yes. There's gonna be better than like 10-second refresh rates or whatever.
They're so bad, but I want it on a watch, because all these smartwatches, they're really cool and all, but they got horrible battery lives. Let's go back to an e-ink display like the Pebbles were. Give me some battery life.
I don't really know anything about ink.
Well, so there's gonna be the full color stuff in about 2 or 3 years, but we're going to like, what is it? Let's see if for color filter arrays, which is kind of a lesser technology, but it's fast.
Fast is good.
Yeah.
All right, well, speaking of fast, seeing as no one has fastly thrown stuff at us, we're going to be calling it a day. Thank y'all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Woo,
Bye, everybody.